It's history behind the horrors 31 Days of Halloween.
Phobia, the fear of the darkness, is a free-to-play indie horror game that came out years ago, but I recently reinstalled it to play through the whole thing again because I really do love this horror game. The game starts off with the protagonist driving down a long snowy road. He talks about how he only has a few hours left of his drive before he reaches the location that the game never tells us. The protagonist then claims that he is now lost and almost out of gas. Eventually he does run out of gas and sets on foot to look for shelter from the cold. He soon comes up on an old abandoned mansion and decides to stay there for the night and look for gas first thing in the morning. And this is where the game begins. So when you first start this game, you're going to notice that this mansion is really dark, and which it should be because it's an abandoned mansion. When I first played this game, it took me about 20 to 30 minutes to figure out what exactly I needed to do to progress in this game. When eventually, the protagonist would tell us that we need to find a way to light the lamps around the mansion. Now, it's still being very dark, I was still very confused, and some doors are locked, so I was kind of like, what am I supposed to do in this game? Then, by some luck, I found a box of matches which we used to light up the lamps that lead from the top stairs to the basement all the way down into the inner parts of the basement, where eventually we find a power switch that turns on all the lights in the mansion, which leads to two things. Either this mansion was recently abandoned, or someone or something still lives in this mansion. But of course the protagonist acts like this is completely normal and decides to head to bed anyway. Later that same night, the protagonist wakes up to hear a very weird scratching noise coming from the basement. He never got a chance to figure out what that noise was because as he got closer to the basement, the noise stopped and he figured it was nothing and decides to head back to bed. The next morning, our protagonist finally sets out to look for the gas for his vehicle. Along the way, you will find scattered notes around the mansion that we soon find out was written by a scientist who has been using this mansion to do very strange experiments. After a little bit of more searching and reading notes, our protagonist decides that he is tired and we should head back to bed. And later that night, the same noise happens again. Except this time, there's someone beating on the door, and the noises don't stop once we reach the basement. So we go and investigate. And this is where I will be ending the video because this is a very good horror game. I really do highly recommend anyone who has a PC to go ahead and try this game out because it's fantastic and it's free to play, so there's nothing to lose. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I hope to see you all here tomorrow for part 2 of our 31 Days of Halloween special. Have a good night.